investment strategy that a lot of retirees like to utilize is something called the bucket strategy. Let me show you how it works. Before we jump into the bucket strategy, it's important to remember that the more risk we take, the more return we should get. In investments, this is called the efficient frontier, and really it looks like this. The more risk you take, the more return you get. When it comes to the bucket strategy, we're going to acknowledge the idea that we don't need all of our money day one. Let's say we're a retiring couple, age 65. Some of the money that you have at that moment, you may not need for 30 years. In other words, you're going to use that to buy bread or groceries when you're 95 years old. So if we have 30 years until we need that money, does it make sense for us to have it in a really conservative investment? Maybe not. It really depends on your risk. But let's look at this from the bucket strategy's perspective. If we were to build 3 different buckets, leveraging different time periods of our life, let's say this first bucket, we'll call it the short-term bucket. And really, that's our 1 to 2 year needs. So anything you anticipate that you're going to need in the next 1 to 2 years, we want to have very little risk, and as a function of little risk, have very little return. And that's okay, as long as we can access it and it's there and ready for us. So that 1 to 2 year bucket, if we can get 3 or 4% interest, just as much interest as we can, but we got to keep it liquid and we got to keep it accessible. So then we've got our midterm bucket. Our midterm bucket is really your 2 to 10 year needs. So these are expenses that you might come across in the next 2 to 10 year time horizon. Maybe your next car or your next few trips that you're going to take. In that 2 to 10 year bucket, you've got the ability to take a little more risk for the benefit of a little more return. Essentially, the goals for that bucket are threefold. Number one, we want to keep it liquid so that you can draw it down anytime you need it. Number two is that we want it to keep pace with inflation. It may not be as important for it to beat inflation, but we certainly want to maintain our purchasing power or keep up with inflation. Number three, ideally we'd be beating the bank as far as the interest that we're gaining. Otherwise, we should just have it in the bank. So if we can keep up with inflation, beat the bank, and keep it liquid, really we're doing what we need to do in that midterm bucket. Then we've got our long-term bucket. Our long-term bucket really is your 10 plus year money. And really, this is money that we do not anticipate needing in that 10-year time horizon. And so we can take a little more risk for the benefit of a little more return. The goal with this bucket is to grow our wealth, to outpace inflation. Now, the thing I love about this bucket strategy is it can be built out for any risk appetite. Remember, risk is relative. If you want to take a lot of risk, your bucket strategy might look a little different than somebody that doesn't want to take any risk at all. But generally speaking, by putting your money into different buckets, it allows us to emotionally segment these buckets when it comes to the market ups and downs. So in a bad market, you're going to absolutely love this bucket and you're going to hate this bucket. And you might even come to me and say, why are we putting all this money in this long-term bucket? Let's pull it down to cash so we don't lose. And I'm going to say, stick to the plan. Let's say you're in a great market. Guess what? You're going to hate this bucket and you're going to love this bucket. In that moment, you might say, are we sitting on too much cash? Should we put more money in that investment? It's growing so well. And I'm going to say, stick to the plan. Emotionally, we can segment our money to improve the likelihood that we'll have success on our investing journey throughout retirement. Hope this helps.